Some cruise ports are implementing new rules and bans that will likely affect cruise passengers starting as early as this month. Now, these are good to know as you don't want to be caught off guard once you're on your cruise. Hi there, I'm Ilana from the website lifewellcruise.com. Welcome back to my channel. Now, cruise ports, they do sometimes make changes that affect the cruise ships, that affect cruise passengers. Now, in this case, I just want to let you know so that you can make alternative arrangements when it comes to shore excursions, that you also know what you can wear and what you cannot wear, and you know what to expect when it comes to even getting into a cruise port of call. Now, I have a total of 6 things that I am going to talk about in this video. But before I get started, I did want to mention that if you like this video, if you find it helpful, informative, or enjoyable in any way, then please do give this video a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Let's get started. Number 1, a ban on wildlife interactions in Honduras. Now, if you're going on a Caribbean cruise, it's highly possible that you are going to Roatan. Now, in Roatan, one of the most popular excursions was interacting with sloths, monkeys, and other animals at a sloth or monkey sanctuary. Now, I have to say, we have done this excursion before where we visited a sloth and monkey sanctuary, and we did go inside the cages, and I held a sloth. I have to say, at the time, I did find it enjoyable. However, I definitely can understand why the government of Honduras is cracking down on this. Now, a final decision hasn't been made on this. However, the government of Honduras is making an increased effort to protect endangered and vulnerable species. And this includes concerns of wildlife trafficking that has increased in recent months. Now, there are a lot of sanctuaries in Roatan, so it doesn't mean that we will not be able to still visit these sanctuaries. But according to unofficial reports, the animal sanctuaries and parks that are properly licensed will be able to still keep the animals, but it does look like the holding and going inside the cages and interacting really in the animal space, that will be prohibited. Now, taking pictures with sloths and holding sloths is a little bit of a wish list item for many cruisers. But now that I hear that this could really stress out the sloth, and of course about the trafficking, I can definitely understand why they're making this decision. Now, by the way, if you are visiting Roatan, there are plenty of other things to do. And even at these sanctuaries, there's sometimes zip lining and ATV riding, and there's beaches around the island. So there are other things to do besides this. But please let me know if you've been to Roatan, if you've held a sloth, and what you think of this decision. Number 2, cruise port itinerary changes. And while this is actually not something new, it is something that I've seen come up a little bit more recently in the cruise news, so I did want to address it. Now, when you go on a cruise, the cruise ports can actually change. So even though you might wish to go on that 7-day cruise that does 4 specific ports, just as an example, it is possible that they could change, usually due to weather, but sometimes even before the cruise, that itinerary might change for other factors. That can include port congestion or even other factors that we're not aware of. Now, I know a lot of people are aware of this, but what if you're going on that bucket list cruise, like Antarctica? Now, some of you may have seen a video by Jess and Justin, very good video, by the way, about their Antarctica cruise. I'm going to leave it linked down below in the description of the video because it really is worth a watch. However, what happened is they didn't actually get to go and step foot in Antarctica, which is obviously not what they signed up for when they went on this luxury Antarctica cruise. Now, it does seem like that cruise had a specific situation, so I will really let them talk about it in their own video. But it does go to show that the guarantee of specific ports is just not there when it comes to cruising. Number 3, fines for what you wear or don't wear. So yes, in Split, Croatia, they have implemented a new rule where cruise passengers, and really any tourists, I shouldn't even say it's only cruise passengers, tourists can be fined if they wear swimwear when they are not on the beach. And this can amount to a €150 fine. And the same thing, by the way, approximately the amount in Dubrovnik And there are other European cities, including Barcelona and others as well. Now, it's not just swimwear, by the way. So for men, if you are walking topless along the streets of those cities, that is not something that you are allowed to do. Number 4, which leads me to camouflage clothing. Now, some people know this and some people don't, so it is not new, but I thought it is important to include it because camouflage clothing is not permitted to be worn in certain Caribbean countries. And not only is it not permitted, but it is actually illegal. Now, some of those countries include Barbados, Jamaica, and St. Lucia. And even wearing so much as a baseball cap with a camouflage design, even that can get you fined or arrested. So you want to leave any of the camo clothes. If you don't leave it at home, at least leave it on the cruise ship. New cruise ship bans or limits in cruise ports of call. Now, Nice, France, it looks like it's joining the list of ports that are saying that they want to either limit the amount of cruise passengers that are coming into their ports, or they want to ban them entirely. Now, we did hear about this a couple of months ago, and in fairness, the mayor of Nice has actually walked some of his concerns back just a little bit, and he has offered a compromise. They are voting on this just around the time that I'm filming this video. But it does look like this is going to be the resolution. I am going to share with you, by the way, what the mayor of Nice did have to say about cruisers, and I'd like to hear what you think. But first, let's talk about his concerns and about the compromise or the resolution. So in Nice, he just doesn't like the idea of these big cruise ships in particular coming into the port. And he says he wants to protect the coastlines and the harbor and really the population from over-tourism. Now, while I think he would have preferred not to have any cruise ships at all, the businesses in Nice didn't necessarily feel the same way. After all, cruising really does have a big economic impact on these cities. So here's the proposal, and there are limits, but definitely not as stringent as they were before. So to come into Nice, they will accept cruise ships that have no more than 900 passengers. So basically smaller cruise ships. However, they have offered the nearby town of Villefranche-sur-Mer, where larger cruise ships are going to be able to come in. Now, for this neighboring port, the cruise ships can be up to 2,500 passengers, and only one cruise ship can dock per day, and only 65 visits per year. Now, if you know cruising these days, you know that 2,500 passengers is really not such a large ship anymore. So what about the really large mega ships? Well, this is what he had to say. Cruises for the giants of the sea, it's still no. No more 5,000 passenger monsters in the middle of the harbor. Now, what does he have against these 5,000 passenger cruise ships? Well, in January, he said, these cruises pollute and pour out their low-cost customers who do not consume anything and leave rubbish behind them. Well, I'm glad that they came to a compromise, but he definitely doesn't seem like he likes all cruise passengers. I am curious what you think about those statements. And in general, though, do you agree with this compromise? Please let me know down in the comments below. Number 6, no fruits, no vegetables, no meat. Now, this is not a new rule, but similarly to the camouflage, I did want to make sure that I mentioned it when it comes to cruise ports, because a lot of cruise passengers, especially first-time passengers, don't realize that if you get off in many cruise ports of call with fruits or vegetables, you can actually be fined. And that has happened to people even in the Caribbean ports. So if you think you might want to take a snack off the cruise ship to eat later on, it's best to bring something that's packaged or something that is dry. Absolutely do not try to bring out any bananas, oranges, or even cheese. Well, I hope that this video was helpful. I would love to hear from you, so please let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it, and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Bye for now, and happy cruising.